Waziri, please be seated. The Cabinet Secretary, Lands, Public Works, Housing, and Urban Development, the Honorable Zakari Njeru. The Governor, Nakuru County, Susan Kiheka, aka Susi. The Principal Secretary for Housing, Charles Hinga. The Permanent Representative of the UN Habitat. The representatives from the World Bank, representatives from the UN Habitat, Excellencies, distinguished guests. I join you this afternoon in the great county of Nakuru, one of the fastest growing cities in Africa, to wind up a very critical and timely inaugural conversation under the theme, "The Future is Urban." I think to adopt the greeting, as the PS and the CS have explained, maybe we need to improve it a little bit better. So that if I say the future is urban, then you answer in a certain way. In the late 80s, there was a column in the Saturday Nation called The Whispers. It was written by a guy from my home county called Mutahi. May his soul rest in peace. And in that story that was very interesting every Sunday, he was there, his wife was Thatcher, and the children were called the Urbanites. So all those people who believe the future is urban, then they should be urbanites or desire to be urbanites. So when I say the future is urban, if already you live in the urban center, you say, I'm an urbanite. If you don't and you aspire to live in the urban center, you say, I'll be an urbanite. The future is urban. Thank you very much. Mumbai, you are all urbanites. I think I'm the only fellow from the village. This meeting takes place a few days after we hosted the second session of the UN Habitat Assembly in Nairobi on sustainable housing and urban development. This important convening also happens when at least a third of our population is living in urban areas, resulting in new and expansion of existing towns. It is too a moment that the country is deeply engaged in a debate on funding affordable housing. On the other hand, the government has rolled out construction of housing units in major cities and towns across the country. Distinguished guests, the robust discussion of this gathering has resulted in the adoption of key resolutions. We welcome the resolutions because they will inform our framework for sustainable urbanization. For sustainable housing as envisioned by Agenda 2030 of the United Nations, the Ruto administration will review and harmonize legal frameworks to streamline urbanization. The national government will work with the county governments in resource mobilization and strengthening institutions and mechanisms to deliver on this mandate. This will ensure necessary resources are mobilized and sound research-based integrated plans. Further, ladies and gentlemen, the resolutions of this forum speak to the Kenya Kwanza plan of dignifying families through decent and affordable housing. Affordable housing will help us grow economically through jobs created in the material and service supply chains. Ultimately, this will reduce poverty, especially among the unemployed youth. Distinguished guests, for sustainable communities and cities, we will continue enhancing our collaboration with the development partners under this agenda. We appreciate the partnership and milestones made in urban governance, infrastructure development, and even capacity building achieved with the support of the World Bank, the UN Habitat, the French Development Agency AFD, the Swedish International Development Agency SIDA, and other development partners and international friends. Your invaluable support in programs such as the Kenya Urban Support Program, the Kenya Informal Settlement Improvement Program, the Nairobi Metropolitan Service Improvement Program has boosted the development of urban areas, cities, municipalities, and informal settlements across the nation. Distinguished delegates, we will continue giving priority to the achievement of one of the most important global agendas on sustainable urbanization, as spelled out in Sustainable Development Goal number 11, on making cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. I am excited that at the end of this conference, yesterday, as the CS National Treasury rolled out the first budget of the Kenya Kwanza government in Parliament, you know, some people have been poking holes in our agenda in matters economy and budget, and it's because we are ignorant. Since we came to office on 13th of September, the budget that we were utilizing was not ours, and hence we take no responsibility for its shortcomings or otherwise. That budget belonged to the handshake regime. Our budget was rolled out yesterday. That is the Kenya Kwanza first budget, and we want to be held to account on its implementation. And there was a very good coincidence yesterday as we rolled out the first budget of the Kenya Kwanza administration. Very good news came from Washington. The World Bank has approved approximately 45 billion Kenya shillings to support 77 municipalities in 45 counties and 2 special municipalities for refugees in Kakuma and Dadaab. And the irony of that announcement from Washington is that as the world and international institutions acknowledge the importance of urbanization, slum upgrading, and affordable housing, characters here in this country are opposed to the same. That is the irony. You know, international institutions, very credible institutions, the entire world is saying the future is urban. Let's do slum upgrading. Let's have affordable housing to dignify the people of Kenya, to give them access to clean water, to sanitation, and all the other things that dignify a human being. Then a few characters are making noise everywhere. And the irony again of the whole thing, almost these characters who are making noise, 98% they own homes in the urban cities. So wanazuia wengine tu wafaidike. Wanapiga kelele na wako kwa nyumba yao. They are all urbanites. And they are saying others should not be. So I want to urge them now that we have 45 billion from the World Bank, what are they going to do? What to do? Sasa hata wakipinga ile yetu na hii, siba nyumba lazima ijengwe. Lazima. And I want to really thank you for this summit, and I want to encourage you, let us all join hands and support housing and slum upgrading. You know, the PS, Charles Hinga is my friend. Unataka nikutoe jasho kidogo? They put this man through a very odd was the other day he was sweating. Please sit down. You know, the PS is asking me that he needs my support in affordable housing. PS. Affordable housing, slum upgrading, is the baby of William Ruto and I. We need your support, not the other way around. How do you ask somebody to, how do you bisha hodi kwa nyumba yako? He's asking me to support what I believe in, what my boss believes in, and that's why I'm here. The president was here. I'm here because this program has commitment at the highest level of government, the presidency. And I want to urge all the players, the architects, the quantity surveyors, the engineers, the planners, the contractors, we join hands and dignify the people of Kenya, and things are going to work out. Again, another irony, I've seen some very good programs from Kibera, the biggest slum in this country. As we try to do slum upgrading in Kibera and other slums, Mathare, Korogosho, a character who was a leader there for 20 years and did nothing about slum upgrading is shouting from the rooftop that we shouldn't do housing. And he was there. He saw the squalor, the shame of people using flying toilets, people living in abject poverty, total indignity. And we have a program now to dignify those people, give them some affordable housing because they deserve dignity because it's in our constitution. And a fellow they elected for 20 years, believing in him, he is shouting at the rooftop that this program should not happen. Just how unfair can you be? How unfair can you be to people who have been so nice to you? These are people who have given you leadership for 20 years. You did nothing for them. Somebody else has come to say, let's do something for them. You did nothing for them. They gave you leadership, and then you are trying to stop it. Sijui ni wivu. Kikwetu kinyumbani huko tunaita kikoro. Sijui, I don't know. I don't understand. I think I'm lost. I don't understand people in this country anymore. Why would anybody is in his right frame of mind have a problem with slum upgrading? Why would anybody in his right thinking have a problem with having affordable housing for Kenyans so that they can live with dignity? We don't understand. So me, I want to say thank you. I'm not your ambassador. I am the owner. So this is in my DNA. The president and I, we talk housing. Morning, lunchtime, and jioni kama dawa. That is one of our pillars in our manifesto and is one of our contractual understanding with the people of Kenya. We have entered with the people of Kenya a 5-year contract, and one of the things we have agreed with them is affordable housing. We have every intention of honoring our part of the contract because in another 4.5 years, we'll be going back to the people of Kenya to renew the contract, and we don't want them to terminate that contract. So finally, for Nakuru, I think you are very lucky. And I don't think you have a problem with affordable housing because your governor is passionate about housing. She's an urbanite. Not just one of Kenya, she lived in America all her life. So she is urban. She's not even waiting for the future. Herself, she is urban. Then, luckily for Nakuru County, the cabinet secretary in charge of housing, Zak Njeru, is from Nakuru. The principal secretary, who is being made to sweat by negative fellows, Charles Hinga, is from Nakuru. What else can the people of Nakuru ask in matters housing? So Susan, Zak, Hinga, hata Yesu alianza Jerusalem before I had Judea. Charity begins at home. Before you can convince the rest of us you can build houses, simujenge hapa nyumbani kwanza. Inakuwaga namna hiyo. Mtatujengea namna gani kama hama mwezi jenga? So Nakuru, I think, is sorted. We have got a good team, and I think we should have enough houses, affordable, to dignify the people, not just of Nakuru, but the people of Kenya. Again, Nakuru is a host to all communities. It's cosmopolitan. Everybody is here in Nakuru. And all those people who came from elsewhere want houses that are affordable. So I think that will go on very well. So I don't want to say much beyond there. You know, my boss is away, so I'm the one in charge. I need to keep going so that I make sure niende nipanga maneno, sitaki kumwaga unga yangu. Najua Susan, wewe ukitaka yako imwagike, mimi hapana iko hapo. So mimi ni kuchunga maneno ya bosi yangu, housing nini. Nikiona watu wameweka sufuria kwa kichwa, ninawatoa ninarudishia mama. Ndio tusibuane. Na tunataka tu tukiwa hapa Nakuru kuomba hii watu ya masufuria. Tafadhali muache kusubua mama wetu. Sufuria ni ya kutupikia. Sasa kila siku mnachukua sufuria, mkienda kwa inatia gas inapotea. Mnaenda mnachukua ingine inapotea. Sasa kitchen yote hakuna sufuria. So tunataka kutetea wamama wetu. Please, nendeni town mnunue sufuria zenu. Hapa tunachukua masufuria nyumbani. So tumeshukuru sana. DCC Naivasha is here. The sub-county commander is here, ama ni watu ya county. Nimekuja na ile list ya wale watu wanatengeneza pombe na wanauza bangi. Nitakupatia. Wapi hiyo list? Iko hapa. Kuja Kivara. Sasa mimi nimejaribu kusaidia kwa sababu ni mtu ya ground. Kuja Kivara. Ndio hii. Hii ndio watu nasumbua Naivasha. Can you deal with it? How many days?
1 week.
1 week? Today is when?
Today is Friday.
We talk next Friday or Saturday?
Friday.
Next Friday.
Saturday.
What time? 10:00. Thank you, Commissioner. Please do it. Because unajua sisi mimi na William Ruto, because we are hustlers and downtrodden people. We get a lot of information. Hata mtu aliniambia juzi, "Wewe unaenda Naivasha? Wacha nikupatie list ya ile watu yote wanatusumbua. Upatie hawa watu. Wakikosa kufanya, ujue wako na shida." So the Commissioner, you have it. Do what you must do. Let us prepare our young people for affordable houses. This program of affordable housing require labor from our young people. We require fundis. Sasa hii watoto wetu wote wamekunywa pombe ile mbaya, wamelala kwa mitaro. Wengine wameoa juzi, kuliko kulala kwa kitanda juu wanalala chini ya kitanda. Wamekunywa pombe haramu, wamevuta bangi. So this program of you as PS Hinga, how will it work with a drunken nation? If all our young people are drunk and they are sleeping on trenches, they don't even recognize each other. How will it work? So some people are saying that I've been allocated useless duties of fighting alcohol and banking. It's part of the housing program. I want you to look at it that way. I am not just fighting this alcohol and banking for the sake of it. I want to prepare the workforce to do the housing program. With those very many remarks, the future is urban. Kwani mumesahau? The future is urban. Asanteni sana. May God bless you and bless you abundantly. Thank you.